Hey RJ, thanks for the great idea to this video. I was right about to get rid of all the setups that I used in shooting the Panasonic G7 video. Then you come along and go, hey, why don't you do a video on the EOS M3 the same way? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. Took me longer than 24 hours, sorry for that. But in any case, this video is for you. And should any of you guys dig photography, definitely check out RJ's channel, RJ Bradbury Photography, link up here. Let's do this.
Darling,
let's test focus modes when you're behind the camera. Alright, the 18 to 55mm kit lens at 55mm using face tracking. Let's see what it can do. It really has problems focusing. Alright, there it is. There it is. Alright, out in the real world, it is kind of slow, but then again, really not a lot of light out here right now. Let's try face tracking and shutter half press. Still has some problems. Let's go to the 18mm wide end. Well, that's a better performance, but still sometimes it just won't focus. Shutter half press. Alright, shutter half press does do up AF performance. Let's try one area autofocus. .55mm tele end. One area autofocus and shutter half press, if you're operating from behind the camera, they are a pretty good combination. Still, no smooth focus pulling. Let's go. Shooting to 55 to 200 now. Well, you're not always gonna shoot under great lighting conditions, so it should perform better than that. Alright, it's got no problem focusing if the whole content of the image changes. But if you just want to separate a subject from the background, face tracking is not what you want to be using. This time, one area autofocus. Alright, now using shutter half press to do really difficult focusing. If you want to separate the subject from its background using this camera at high millimeters, with this camera that's really above 50mm, you're either gonna want to use one area autofocus with the help of shutter half press or manual focus. Then again, using those high millimeters, you're very likely to be behind the camera because you're not gonna vlog with 50mm or in the 50 to 200mm range using face tracking. Alright, let's go to the full 200mm tele end. First testing one area autofocus on its own. Alright, there's a definite lag, it's weird somehow, but it does autofocus. Let's use it with shutter half press. Well, there's for one a lot more hunting going on, and also it doesn't seem to be faster, so it doesn't really make a difference here. I'm gonna put on this grade 11 to 22. Using actually my custom vlogging setup with the EOS M3. using the Rode and the custom attachments. There's not a lot of light out here right now. It's quite windy. It's almost dusk. Testing it under sub-optimal lighting conditions is a good thing because you're not going to shoot at optimal lighting conditions all the time anyway. So it's good to be able to see what it can do right now. The last couple of tests it had some problems here and there. Autofocus was slow sometimes, auto exposure was pretty slow sometimes, but 80 to 90% of the time it does what you want it to do. Let's zoom in. Yeah, focus is pretty much where it needs to be. Let's see how fast it reacts once lighting conditions change. It does take its sweet time again. Doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Oh, there it is. Again, it's pretty slow. Alright, let's see how fast it switches when lighting conditions change. Well, it's quite fast this time. Let's see what happens. Zoom in. Okay, so let's zoom in to see how it handles itself. Okay, it's not the fastest camera. I guess that's fair to say. That can be annoying, but it doesn't happen all too often. But it's doing a good job considering its price point. It's a small camera, it's not the best of autofocus systems, but it's workable. It does have the nice Canon image quality. The aesthetic of the sensor is just awesome. It's not the perfect vlogging camera, if there's such a thing, but it's a good one. Alright. Tracking autofocus, which is a combination of face tracking and tracking in the Canon EOS M3. So what I'm gonna do is touch myself. It is now tracking my face. Let's see how well it performs. Well, looks good so far. Oh no! It cancels the touch autofocus, so okay, if when tracking a subject the camera loses the subject, it just switches to face tracking. That's not all that bad, but if what you were tracking wasn't the face, that would be a problem. Touching myself again, I hate to say it, but that's what I'm doing right here on the touch screen. Okay, it works similar. Alright. Let's see what happens if I leave frame. Alright, picked me up again. Alright, that's not too bad. It just pretty much sits at the side of the frame and seems to wait for me to come back. It doesn't wait a really long time for me to come back. It's kind of a snob. It'll just leave you. But overall, face tracking autofocus worked pretty well, I think. Tracking autofocus, I really wouldn't use it because from what I've seen now, it's not reliable. Darling, you send me, I know. Using the kit lens at 35mm and face tracking autofocus gives us pretty good results. If the subject is of considerably higher contrast, it's no problem, and even Bruno the dog is in focus pretty much 99% of the time and relatively quickly. Switching to one area autofocus here, it may have slightly improved autofocus performance, but it's slim to none really. On the other hand, it gives us the ability to precisely choose what we want in focus. Using shutter autofocus here is a possibility, but it doesn't improve AF performance, it just makes the focus pulling a lot less smooth. Having great lighting conditions with such a tabletop setup, the 200mm far tele end gives us very decent results. There is some minor focus hunting sometimes, but generally the AF locks quickly. So if you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up, it'd be greatly appreciated. Any kind of comment or feedback is welcome, and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. And should you feel like supporting the channel, definitely go check out the video description, there might be some product links that are interesting for you. In any case, as always, thank you so much for your time, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in another video.